All right, welcome back. Solo Dolo. It's your boy, the Valley Savage. This is Tell the Truth Boxing Pod. Make sure you hit the like button on your way in, share and subscribe. We're also on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. You can find us everywhere, man. We will be here every single day. And what we mean by every single day, that is Sunday through Thursday. But today is just me. It's just going to be me, myself, and I. But we're talking about Jake Paul. Jake Paul is officially ranked, and people are not happy about it. It's nasty work to a lot of the boxing community. And you know what? To be honest with you, I can't really blame them. Here we go from NBR Boxing. Jake Paul is now officially ranked number 14 cruiserweight in the world by the WBA. That's in the world. Okay. Let's check out some of the comments here. What do we got? Boxing is becoming rigged like WWE. Mm. WBA, Women's Boxing Association. That makes sense. See? It's how when he's been fighting retired NBA players, which is a fact, UFC fighters, fact, one pro boxer that's not even top 15, and two retired boxers. Ugh. It's not looking good. Oh man, they got the memes out. Feel sorry for those who really worked hard and struggled. This is Nuno's point. Let me get into this right here. I feel sorry for those who really put work hard and struggled and aren't even in the top 100, 300. Jake beat a few old washed UFC fighters, 60-year-old Tyson, and he's top 15. What a joke. So I can't argue with you. Right? This is tell the truth, right? I can't really argue, but let me get into some things that Jake has done well for the sport of boxing, things that can't be denied, right? He's a great ambassador for the sport when it comes to women's boxing, right? Before Jake Paul, nobody was really talking about Jake Paul. As a matter of fact, only true hardcore boxing fans knew about women's boxing, right? But as soon as Jake Paul comes in, Amanda Serrano gets the first $1 million paycheck. I want to say in women's boxing, but I guess, I'm pretty sure somebody else has gotten $1 million, but the fact that he's not just giving her first million, but he keeps giving her $1 million checks after $1 million checks. And now Amanda Serrano is a household name. Now he has fighters that are also legitimate women's boxers, like your Shadeja Greens, like your Alicia Bumgarners, like the list goes on, man. And the cards that he's putting on for women's boxing is truly showing what women's boxing is, which is exciting because it's always your 2 minute and 10 rounds, and it's all action packed. It's blood, it's violence, is what we want to see a lot from the men. And when it comes to women's boxing, you're going to get action packed fights damn near every single time. And Jake Paul has put that to the forefront. He also has he has other, ambassador movements, entrepreneurial movements that he does well. I mean, anything that Jake Paul puts his name on, it shines, right? So here's where I'm coming from, right? If Jake Paul is a fraud, right? You got to come with receipts, right? And people criticize his 13 fight career. He's 12-1. He lost to Tommy Fury, right? You want to criticize it, but I challenge anybody, right, to go and look at your favorite fighter's first 13 fights. Usually they're, your 4 rounds, and then you go to your 6 rounds, and then you go to your 8 rounds. Obviously, 10 and 12, right? And Jake Paul pretty much skyrocketed through all that, right? We can talk about the opposition later, but the fact of the matter is that he has names on his resume in just 13 fights that it would be difficult for even the most hardcore fan to put up against Hall of Fame boxers, right? Let's start from the bottom, right? You have Ali Ensign-Gibb. I don't even know who that is, but when you look at every other boxer, you go to your favorite boxer, right? And you look at his first fight. Do you know that guy? And what is that guy doing now? Right? Then you got Nate Robinson, right? Never boxed. He can jump out the gym, but he had to get picked up off the canvas, right? Only his second fight, but Nate Robinson, I'm thinking that was only his first fight, right? So even though there was a huge size difference, at the end of the day, as far as skill level, I mean, they really weren't that far apart, right? Whereas professional fighters, they're going in there with guys, especially if they have a high pedigree, they're going in there with guys that, are debut guys, or they're 0-2, or they're maybe 1-0, but after, your favorite fighter beats them, what else? Where do they go after that? Right? Let's go on then. Ben Askren, right? Ben Askren, debut fighter when he fought Jake Paul, debut boxer, I should say, right? And he has experience in combat sports, which is a benefit because you're going to have the confidence. You're at least going to have the bare minimum basic know-how to at least last in there with somebody, even if it's not a Jake Paul, because you have combat experience, right? Unless you're going against somebody that's elite, like your Tyson Furies or your Anthony Joshuas or whoever else, whatever name you want to throw in there, right? And then you have Tyron Woodley, who that was his fourth fight. Jake Paul's fourth fight was Tyron Woodley, who was a UFC champion, who was known for, the ground and pound. He wasn't really known for like the hands and shit like that. But at the end of the day, the guy is not like he's never been in a combat situation at a professional level, right? And that's just his 4 fights, because he fought Woodley 2 times, right? So if we take that and we put it up against our favorite fighters, how does it stack up? If you go and look for yourself, it stacks up pretty well, right? On paper, it does, right? So at the end of the day, I guess you got to kind of give Jake you got to give him some credit, because this guy is coming from silk sheets. He didn't have to do none of this. He could have been doing whatever he's doing now outside of boxing and still making tens of millions of dollars with the big homes and the nice cars and the beautiful women. But he decides to get up and work. I'll do the miles. I'll do the rounds. I'll do the sparring. And a lot of fighters will tell you that shit, the fight, the actual fight, is the party. I mean, obviously you want to win. If you lose, it's not really a party. But I mean, damn, the sparring, the road work, all the conditioning that needs to get done, cutting weight, that shit ain't easy. And it's even harder for somebody who doesn't even need to do none of that. The only fighters that I would say, I mean, there are a couple more, but the ones that come to mind that have a better resume than Jake Paul is your Keyshawn Davises, who skyrocketed to the top, like your Shakur Stevensons, your Lomachenko, Tito Mercado. If you don't know who Tito Mercado is, look Tito Mercado up and look at his resume. It is dope. It's fire. Tito Mercado is young and he's on the way. And if you look at the names that he has in such a early part of his career, Tito Mercado, I think, is going to be the truth. You can also throw Abdullah Mason in there. But those are very, very few and far between. Like, you have a select few guys who got thrown in championship fights in less than 15 fights. And Jake Paul isn't in a championship fight. He was almost in one with Canelo, which I don't feel like he deserves. But I also feel like a lot of other guys got fights with Canelo that didn't deserve it. Berlanga. What was Berlanga doing in there? So we have to just pump the brakes just a little bit, right? So at the end of the day, we do have to tell the truth. You see that? See that? I can't sit here and cap. If you go further on in his resume and you look at the people that he's fought on paper, it doesn't look that bad, right? We'll go up to Anderson Silva, who he fought after Tyron Woodley. And Anderson Silva is, even though he wasn't known to be a boxer, everybody in a mama knew that Anderson Silva has hands. He beats Anderson Silva. All right, well, Valley Savage, that's not good enough. Okay. Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury, who? Oh, that's Tyson Fury's brother. So what? So what? What has he done? He beat Jake Paul. And not to mention, Tommy Fury is not ranked at the cruiserweight division. The guy that beat Jake Paul. That's why I got to agree with the critics. It is what it is. But we'll move on. Nate Diaz. When's the last time Nate Diaz finished a complete sentence? And if he completed a complete sentence, when has he not slurred his words? Nate Diaz been in some wars, man. And you can kind of see, no disrespect to Nate, but you can tell that those wars that he had in that octagon is catching up to him. Jake got him at the right time. Just call a spade a spade, Then you got guys like Andre August, Ryan Berland, Mike Perry, and then last but not last, but obviously he fought Chavez. That was the fight that got him ranked. But you fight Mike Tyson. Again, on paper, this resume for the first 13 fights is fire. But then you actually go and look at who he was really in there with, even though the name is nice and shiny, the fighter that got in there that owns that name isn't as shiny as his name, if that makes sense. You look at Mike Tyson, you're like, oh. And the funny thing is that when he went in there with Mike, there were people really sitting there like, yo, I don't know what he's thinking going in there with Mike. Like, Mike ain't in his mid-50s. Like, he don't have a knee brace. Like, his ass isn't out. My man is wearing a thong. All on Netflix. Kids is up, staying up late. They got church in the morning, and they see Mike Tyson's ass out. That's the Tyson that got in there with Jake Paul. So we gotta, again, the man don't have to do it, but he's doing it. He's bringing attention to the sport. I think it was a record of over 100 million viewers on Netflix, which is fire. Like, I love this sport. I don't care how we get the fans, as long as we get them. Because if we have the fans, that means that we have demand, and then we're going to see bigger fights. And Jake Paul is the type that, He's willing to sign. He's willing to work with whoever. He's willing to squash beefs. He's a businessman, and he's leading by example. He may be getting in there with some washed up, no disrespect. Might be over the hill, but he's getting in there. There's a lot of men the same size as Jake Paul that those guys that he got in there with. I mean, shit, me myself, you think I would ever try Tyson? Nope. But Julio Cesar Chavez is where you got to start calling cap. If you haven't already, we over here, well, some of us, me and Rick, Leaf, that's my homie. He's not here, so I'm gonna let him live. But Chavez, one, we all know that he has. I mean, even Jake knew the nickname that he gave him was Cocaina. We know what's up, man. We know what's up. But at the end of the day, when Chavez started throwing hands, started actually letting his hands go, I wish I had the graphic that I could show you. Let's see if I got it. But before the 9th and 10th round, my man was throwing like, I think it was maybe 7 out of the 10 rounds. He was throwing less than 10 punches. A Mexican. Julio Cesar Chavez's son wasn't throwing punches. When millions of people are watching, whether they bought it or not, they was on a fire stick watching it, they watching. Jake Paul's the villain. We all know when guys are villains and they got a big name, people love to see them lose. They're going to pay money to see them lose. But in today's day, you don't really have to pay. You could just hop on Stream East and then you can see. So I know you've seen it. Bro, this guy did not throw more than 10 punches in more than half of the fight. And then when he started letting his hands go, I swear to God, whether it was the left or the right, or if it was the jab, or if it was the 2, the 3 uppercuts, body shots, everything that Chavez threw landed. It looked like he actually hurt Jake Paul. Chavez, who the fight before really did not look that good. Something doesn't, I don't know, man. I don't want to say that it's, you got to give credit to Jake Paul, man, because even though I do agree that his opponents are handpicked, even though I do agree that these guys are getting in the ring to have their little swan song check, so they never have to fight again or they never have to work again. And he's just picking the right guys so that it's enough doubt. There's just enough doubt that you tune in. And every single time, even Woodley, 50-year-old Tyson, punch drunk Nate Diaz, there's still that doubt at the end of the day. And he sells it well. So on paper, it looks amazing, but if you know what you're looking at, it's always something different. Let me see what this guy, man. Look at this guy, Leaf, man. He's a real fighter now, man. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Get this guy out of here. I'll say this. I'll finish saying this. Do I have a problem with him being ranked? No, because I know how the politics work. I would say that Nuno is the psychology. He can really dig into what fighters are thinking and how they feel and the stress and the weight of it, not just in the ring, but outside the ring. So Rick is really good at that. Leaf is a boxing scientist. I mean, Leaf can see boxing in slow motion. He sees things that I would never even thought to even look for, right? Me, I look at the business aspect of it, the contracts, who's your promoter, who's your trainer, where are you fighting out of? If you got a family, how that may, affect how you approach the game, right? Even though we don't play boxing, right? And as far as a real fighter, I got to see you fight somebody whose livelihood really does depend on it. Tyron Woodley, even though they're really giving out welfare checks over there in UFC, was a champion for a long time. He did a lot of pay-per-views. It wasn't like he was hurting. Same thing with Ben Askren. Tyson is good. Tyson is good. I mean, I know that Don King, did him dirty, but Tyson he ain't really hurt like that. Like, he's not hurt for money like that. He'll take the check. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll take the check. Cool. But he ain't really like hurting though. Like he doesn't need to fight after he fights Jake Paul. So I'll say this: if he fights a top, he's ranked number 13. So if he fights a number 15 fighter, 15 and up, I'll come back and apologize. I will say, Jake Paul, I'm sorry. And I don't even care if he wins or loses. I don't even care. But if you get in there with a guy that's like, listen, even though I'm getting this nice little check, I may be fighting on Netflix or the Zone, I still got to fight after this. And if I lose to you, my career is over. Not guys whose career is already over, they already have other endeavors going on that are less than half 100 years old. Then I'll be like, all right, win or lose. But this is the business. You're ranked. He brings in a lot of money. I think that Chavez was at least a good enough opponent. He wasn't too old. He does have pedigree. He used to be a champion. So maybe that's why that was the just a little bit of push that got him over the edge, But still got to see. I don't know who's next. I know the people that he called out, Tyson Fury. You need to stay away from Tyson Fury. Stay away from Zordo. Don't Anthony Joshua, please. I mean, for the love of God, don't get in there with Anthony Joshua. I will say, honestly, I'm trying to, because I'm on Tell the Truth. I don't want to get crucified for this. Somebody's going to clip it and be like, yo, this guy really said this. But fuck it, I'm going to just say it. Deontay Wilder, I think Wilder loses. Yep. Yep. Wilder's going to lose, man. Just the way that he looked in that last fight, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. And I love Wilder, man. Wilder was my favorite fighter for a while, bro. But damn, what happened to Wilder? And that would be a massive. And you would have to, even though Wilder has looked the way that he's looked, Wilder's still a real prideful man. And he's never going to go in there and take a check just to lay down. So you really have to, all the doubters, if he gets in there with Wilder, you have to give him his respect. I don't care how trash you may think that Wilder is. The fact that he did a draw with Tyson Fury, whether he fell off or that took years off his life, I don't want to hear it. The fact that this man is coming off of TikTok out of silk sheets and pillow top mattresses, housekeepers all in the house. He hasn't mowed a lawn in his life. I don't think he ever took the trash out. Maybe on a skit or something like that. And it'd be 13 fights in, and you fight Wilder? You have to cut him some slack. You gotta at least give him a little bit of respect, or you're a hater. We don't hate over here. Well, Leaf hates my man's for beating up Roy Jones, Tarver. But everybody else, this is a safe place, man. We don't hate over here. We just tell the truth. Show me something. Get in there with somebody, 15 or up. I'll let you can have Wilder. I'll give you Wilder. I'll give you even, I know I'm going to contradict myself, but if he gets in there with Carl Froch, and I think he loses that fight with Carl Froch, but if he gets in there, respect. Because Carl Froch, I don't know if y'all seen, he in shape. And Carl Froch can fucking box. For real. And he don't like Jake Paul. For real. So, at the end of the day, we still got to see, but you can't get mad at it. Boxing has been political since the beginning of time. And Jake Paul not only has money, but he brings money to the sport. He brings eyes to the sport. And if it wasn't the WBA, it was going to be the WBC. It would have been a WBO. It wouldn't have been an IBF. The IBF don't play those games. But the other three, shit. Somebody would have did it because they want that check. And Jake Paul is nothing but dollar signs. Everything he touches turns to platinum. But that's it for today. This is Tell the True Boxing Pod. I'm your boy, the Valley Savage. We'll be back tomorrow. Let's talk a little bit of Leanna Cruz. We got something interesting to say. You're not going to want to miss it. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And we here every day. Catch you on the next one, man. We out.